you outside. And he got the double R, drop you outside. Check the weather and it's getting real, I'll be outside.
Well, I was not expecting this at all, honestly. Any new release from Drake, any upcoming project, I wasn't thinking would come anytime soon. You know, not necessarily saying like this year at all, but I thought around this time, summer, I wasn't expecting anything new from him. You know, he had been featured on some stuff recently, like with Jack Harlow or with Future. So I thought, you know what, this doesn't really seem like Drake's time. But then he has a whole new album out now, out of nowhere, at least to me. I read that he announced this on Instagram on Thursday the 16th. I'm not following Drake on Instagram, so I guess I missed the boat on that. But nonetheless, his new album is out now. It's his 7th studio album called Honestly, Nevermind. And I'm here to talk about it. I was not into Drake's last album, Certified Lover Boy. I made a review for it if you want to check it out. I overall thought it had its moments, but was a pretty inconsistent record. And it's one that I've only grown to dislike more and more as time has gone on. And it was one that some people even said was Drake's worst album to date. Like, just period. Out of his studio albums, out of his mixtapes, just the worst project from Drake. However, I think they might say the same about this one, and I think you might hear some more people saying that about this new thing here. Honestly, Nevermind is hard to listen to. It's hard to get through for a couple of reasons, but mainly just the lack of diversity within the record and the strength of uninteresting everything, whether it's instrumentals, lyrics, Drake's vocals, because he sings on almost this entire album. A couple songs where he actually does rap a little bit, but for the most part, this is very much a pop album. It's not really a rap album. And the genre that this album encompasses is nothing entirely new for Drake. We've seen him take on these more dance-inspired instrumentals and musical styles in the past. I mean, One Dance is easily one of his biggest hits, if not his biggest, commercially speaking. So this was nothing new from Drake. It's not the fact that it is this sort of club, house-inspired music that is so jarring for a lot of the albums, since most of the tracks do fall under that style. But it's just how bland and boring and one note a lot of this album came off as. Not only sonically speaking, but then when you add Drake into the mix and everything he's talking about, everything he's trying to say, I just couldn't give less of a shit, honestly. I could not care less about anything that Drake says in this album. Drake brings pretty much nothing new to the table with, you know, his lyrics. I know, like, if everyone says he has ghostwriters and everything, just the general lyrics in this album bring nothing new to music. It's just all about different, I guess, relationships he's been in, you know, just all stuff that we've heard thousands of times before. And the thing is that this might not have been as much of a problem for me if I liked the instrumentals and I liked the sound of the album and I was consistently bobbing my head and enjoying that. But the thing is that I didn't. I found, you know, like I said, a lot of the instrumentals to be just incredibly one note and boring. The thing that I think makes the best house music and the best club music so enjoyable and so catchy are all the different layers that you hear within it. It isn't just the same freaking beat being played over and over again, and you can actually hear the amount of production that went into an album. That, I think, is what really makes great house music. But a lot of this album failed to, I think, reach any of those heights or even get close to it. And I say a lot of it because there were moments, you know, if I'm being more positive here, there were moments in the music where I thought, like, okay, that wasn't bad. That was actually kind of a well-produced song, and I can get down with it musically. Most notably on the back end of the album, a track like Downhill, for instance, which has these very prominent bongos in the mix, very much a jungle feel to this instrumental, which isn't bad. But one of my favorite tracks on the album, Tie That Binds, which has these incredibly tasty and rich guitar licks that feel like they're ripped right out of the hands of Carlos Santana himself. The album isn't without its moments of enjoyment. They are few and far between, but it does have them in there. This isn't a god-awful album, disastrous mess by any means. When I first listened to it, I kind of was thinking that, but it does have a couple moments where I thought, okay, that wasn't bad. You know, I think Tie That Binds being one of them, and the other one I think being Jimmy's Cook, the last track on this album, which I think is, I don't want to say far and away my favorite one, because I do kind of like Tie That Binds as well, but this is definitely my favorite off of the album. It's really the only hip-hop track, and also the only one to have a feature with 21 Savage in it. But I like the soul-inspired instrumental in this one, as well as these sort of, not really beat switch, but switch up around the middle when 21 comes in, and it basically becomes his song. And so overall, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good way to end the album, actually. A majority of this album really fell flat for me, whether it's lyrically, musically, vocally as well. I feel like a lot of Drake's vocals in this are incredibly underwhelming, and even in moments where I can tell like he's putting on, you know, at least a decent vocal performance, but just the auto-tune strips away so much of the humanity in his voice. And I'm by no means anti-auto-tune. There's plenty of music that I like that has auto-tune, albums that feature it very heavily that I'm a fan of. So I don't want to give off that impression, but I feel like this does kind of just sort of become a bit of a detriment to Drake's performance. Honestly, Nevermind is gonna get a D for me, and that's that. That's all there is to it. It's not a very good album. It's one that I feel like just fell so short in so many different areas and avenues, like I said, with the lyrics, Drake's vocals, a lot of the production wasn't bad. Overall, I think the production on this was fine, but it's just so uninteresting. That's really the biggest takeaway from this album, is just how much I didn't care about almost anything from it. Also, what is up with this blurry ass album cover? I mean, honestly, I feel like the Certified Lover Boy cover was kind of better than this. I mean, at least it's memorable. This one, I just, what the hell is this? And I even kind of struggled to remember the name of the album. I had to look it up again before I started this review. I'm assuming you guys probably have heard this. It's a new album from Drake. It's a big deal right now. Let me know what you think about it. I'm really curious to know what everyone thinks of this, even though I think I know the overall perception probably won't be very good. But that's all that I got for now. I'll sign off right now. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.